Hey guys, welcome back to Ace Recaps. Today, I'm going to explain a 2015 fantasy adventure film titled Tale of Tales. Heads up, spoilers ahead, you've been warned. The movie begins with three separate kingdoms, each carrying its own burden, all about to be changed forever by the choices of the people living within them. The first story takes place in the Kingdom of Longtrellis. A king and his queen live together in a grand palace, deeply in love. But beneath that happiness, a quiet sorrow remains. The queen cannot have children, and this sadness never leaves her. The king calls every doctor and healer in the land to help her condition, but none of them can find a solution. One afternoon, the king arranges for a group of circus performers to visit the palace, hoping the performance will lift the queen's spirits. He really thought a circus could fix royal depression. Among the performers is a pregnant woman. The moment the queen sees her, that sadness turns into something deeper. She walks away from the celebration and returns to her chambers, where she breaks everything around her in grief. The king refuses to give up on her. He promises to do whatever it takes. That very night, a tall and thin elderly man arrives at the palace. He tells the king and queen that he can help them have a child. The king has heard such claims before and pushes back, but the old man speaks with a different certainty. He explains that nature exists in perfect balance, and that bringing a new life into the world requires sacrificing one in return. The king and queen listen carefully and agree to his terms without hesitation. Nothing says stable decision-making like agreeing to blood magic on the first meeting. The old man gives the king a specific task. He must go out and hunt a sea creature living in a nearby river. Once killed, its heart must be removed and given to a pure unmarried woman to cook it alone. Once the queen eats the cooked heart, she will become pregnant. The king sets out the very next morning. He wears a dive suit and dives into the water, where he soon finds a massive white beast sleeping beneath the surface of the river. He approaches quietly and attacks it while it is still asleep. The creature wakes up in pain and strikes him hard with its tail. That creature woke up and found out it had enemies before it had breakfast. Moments later, the creature collapses and dies. But the battle leaves the king badly injured. The soldiers remove the heart from the creature's body, but the king dies on the shore from his wounds. The queen wraps the heart in cloth and carries it back to the palace herself. One of the palace maids is chosen to cook the heart. She is unmarried and considered pure. As she prepares the heart to cook it, something strange begins to happen to her. She starts to feel different, and soon realizes she is pregnant. When the heart is fully cooked, the queen eats it. Just as the old man had said, the queen soon becomes pregnant as well. Both the queen and the maid give birth on the very same night. Each of them has a son. The queen names her boy Elias, and the maid names hers Jonah. As the two boys grow up, it becomes clear they are unlike any other children. Their hair is white, a reflection of the sea creature they both came from. They look so similar that many people mistake them for twins. They become the closest of friends over time and spend all their time together. But the queen disapproves of this friendship deeply. She tells Elias that he is a prince and cannot be close to the son of a maid. Elias never listens to her. The two boys share something even more unusual. They can both breathe underwater. To escape the queen's watchful eyes, they sneak off to the same river where the sea creature was killed and hide beneath the surface. The queen warns the maid to keep her son away from Elias, threatening to banish them both from the kingdom. Still, neither boy stops. One day, Jonah does something that crosses every boundary. He puts on Elias's clothes and walks into the queen's chambers. The queen stares at him, uncertain if it is truly her son or not. She looked at that boy like the royal system needed a password reset. When she finally discovers the truth, she is furious and orders Jonah and his mother to leave the kingdom at once. Elias rushes to stop his friend before he goes. Jonah walks to a nearby tree and cuts into its roots with a knife. Water begins to flow out from the cut in the roots. He tells Elias to watch the water closely. As long as it runs clear, it means he is safe. If it ever turns red, it means his life is in danger. Then Jonah turns and leaves without looking back. Months pass. Elias visits the tree every single day. Then one morning, the water runs red. Elias knows immediately that something is terribly wrong. Without telling his mother, he leaves the palace and goes searching for Jonah. After traveling for a long time, he finds the house where Jonah had been living. Jonah had married a young woman, and since Elias and Jonah look exactly alike, the woman and the villagers assume Elias is her husband at first. That poor woman opened the door and got hit with husband part 2. Through her, Elias learns that Jonah went into the forest 5 days ago and never returned. Elias heads into the forest alone to find him. Back at the palace, the queen discovers that Elias is missing. She searches the entire kingdom but finds no trace of him. In desperation, she calls on the old man once more. He reminds her that she had separated him from his friend, and that he has now gone to look for Jonah. He then tells her the same thing he always does. If she wants her son back, she must offer her own life in exchange. Without hesitation, she agrees. Deep inside the forest, Jonah is trapped near a cave and is badly injured. Suddenly, a large flying creature descends and tries to attack him. Hearing his cries, Elias rushes toward the sound and confronts the creature. The creature pauses for a moment as it looks at Elias. Using this opportunity, Elias kills the creature with his sword. He then takes Jonah back to his home. But the truth that follows is devastating. The flying creature was his own mother, transformed by the old man as part of the bargain. Elias had unknowingly taken her life. The deal was fulfilled. A life given in exchange for a life saved. Jonah survives, and Elias returns to Longtrellis to take his place as king. The first story ends here. The second story belongs to a different kingdom, ruled by a king who surrounds himself with women and spends his days drinking and seeking pleasure. He has never found someone he truly wants to make his queen. Not far from his palace, two elderly sisters live in a small and quiet house. Their names are Dora and Ima. They almost never leave their home because of their ugly appearance, and neither of them has ever been married. They seem to have been forgotten by the world entirely. Those sisters had been living on hard mode for years. But both sisters possess one extraordinary quality. Their voices are soft and youthful, nothing like the voices of old women. One morning, the king hears one of the women singing from a distance, and the voice pulls him in completely. He follows it all the way toward the sound and watches from nearby. But the woman disappears inside her house before he can see her. His imagination fills in the rest, and he becomes convinced that the voice belongs to a beautiful young woman who is simply too shy to show herself. The king sends jewelry as a gift and returns that night, demanding to see the woman whose voice had drawn him in. He heard one song and started moving like a man with no surviving brain cells. Dora, the more cunning and ambitious of the two sisters, sees the king standing at their door and senses an opportunity. She tells him to return in 1 week, promising to show him her finger. After he leaves, both sisters desperately try to make their fingers look younger. Dora applies herbs to her fingers, but they remain wrinkled and old. Ima has a habit of keeping her fingers in her mouth while she works, and her fingers look noticeably smoother as a result. When the week ends and the king returns, Dora pushes Ima's finger through a gap in the door instead of her own. The king is overwhelmed by what he sees and begs to meet her in person. Dora agrees to visit the palace, but only under one condition. She will come to the palace at midnight, and every candle in the palace must be extinguished. The king agrees. Before she goes, Ima helps pull Dora's sagging skin tight using a kind of glue-like substance, so her body feels firmer and younger in the dark. A palace guard comes to escort Dora at midnight, and the palace is kept completely dark as promised. The king spends the night with her. When morning arrives and light fills the room, the king sees an old woman beside him. His rage takes over instantly. He orders his guards to throw her out of the palace window. She falls into the forest below but survives the fall because of the blanket. As she cries for help, a witch appears and helps her settle down. The witch feeds Dora her breast milk. Moments later, Dora transforms completely. Her wrinkles vanish and the skin becomes smooth. Her posture straightens, and long beautiful hair falls around her. She becomes a young woman. That same day, the king goes out hunting in the forest and comes across this unfamiliar young woman. He falls for her immediately and brings her back to the palace. He declares that he will make her his queen. Dora does not fully understand what changed her, but she remembers her sister and sends a message for Ima, inviting her to the wedding along with a beautiful and expensive gown. Ima arrives at the palace wearing the gown, but she is not able to find her sister. Moments later, Dora pulls Ima aside and shares what happened, though she does not reveal how she transformed. Ima is stunned to see her old sister looking so young and radiant. After the marriage, all the guests leave the palace except Ima. The guard tells her to leave, but Ima keeps saying that the queen is her sister and she will not leave. Dora arrives and tells her to leave. But Ima returns to her room shortly after. Dora gets frustrated and scolds Ima, telling her no one will believe they are sisters given how different they now look. When Ima asks how she became young again, Dora becomes furious and tells her she simply peeled off her old skin. Ima takes it as the truth. Just then, the king knocks at the door. Dora quickly hides Ima inside the room and goes to answer it. Moments later, the king and Dora share an intimate time together, and Ima watches them from hiding. The king suddenly notices Ima and orders his guards to take her out of the palace. That room went from romance to family crisis in 2 seconds. The next morning, Ima, completely believing Dora's words, goes to a blacksmith and promises him a valuable necklace and gown if he removes her skin. She heard one angry sentence and treated it like beauty advice. The greedy blacksmith, without any sense or hesitation, takes her into the forest, ties her to a tree, and does exactly what she asked. The process is deeply painful. Ima returns in terrible condition and dies shortly after. On the other side, Dora's transformation does not last. She begins aging again rapidly. Realizing what is happening, she runs from the palace before anyone can see. She returns to her true age within moments and disappears into the world as an old woman once more. The second story ends in sorrow. The third and final story takes place in yet another kingdom. This king is a strange and emotionally distant man. His queen died years ago, and he has a daughter named Violet. He never remarried and never showed his daughter the love she deserved. One day, the king notices a small parasitic insect on his hand, one that feeds on blood. Instead of removing it, he becomes fascinated by it. He lets it feed on him daily and keeps it inside a glass box. Over time, the insect grows to an enormous size. Violet is now a young woman. She spends her days dreaming of a prince who will one day come for her. But her father shows no concern for her future. He remains completely absorbed in his strange pet. Then one day, the massive insect falls ill and dies. The king skins it carefully. After that, he turns to Violet with sudden interest. He tells her it is time for her to find a husband. He announces that a competition will be held. Whoever correctly identifies which creature the displayed skin belongs to will win her hand in marriage. Violet is pleased that her father is finally thinking about her future, though she wishes she could choose for herself. The king hangs the skin in the palace and opens the challenge to the entire kingdom. Many men come and try, but none of them can identify it, as the insect had never grown so large anywhere else. Then a giant mountain man appears at the palace gates. His appearance frightens everyone who sees him. He approaches the displayed skin, smells it closely, and gives the correct answer. Everyone else saw wall decor, and this man showed up with full bug expertise. Violet is horrified. She runs to the top of the palace in tears. She is ready to end her own life rather than marry such a being. The king follows her and explains that he cannot break his word. He tells her this is her fate and she must accept it. Violet argues with her father. She tells him that no father should give his daughter to a monster. But the king does not change his decision. Violet is handed over to the giant man against her will. He takes her far away into the mountains. She cries for many days and refuses to accept her situation. One afternoon, while the giant man leaves for hunting, Violet spots a woman on a distant mountain and calls out to her for help. She tells her she is a princess being held captive by a monster. The woman cannot reach her alone and calls her sons. The sons are skilled rope walkers who perform as a traveling circus crew. They tie a rope between the mountains. One of the sons carries Violet on his back and walks on the rope. Just as they are about to reach the other end, the giant man returns. He grabs the rope and begins pulling himself toward them. The sons manage to pull them to safety. They cut the rope in time, and the giant falls. The family loads Violet onto their cart and travels through the forest to bring her to safety. But the giant man catches up to them on the road and kills everyone except Violet. He turns to Violet with fury in his eyes. Instead of running, she steps forward and wraps her arms around him. His anger drains away immediately. When he lifts her onto his shoulder to carry her back, Violet quietly draws a blade and cuts his throat. He collapses and dies on the spot. Violet takes his severed head and carries it back to her father's kingdom. By the time she arrives, the king has fallen gravely ill. He is weakened by the years of letting the parasite feed on his blood. Violet places the giant man's head before him without a word. The king looks at her with sorrow and regret in his eyes. He begs Violet for forgiveness. After that, he makes Violet the queen of the kingdom. The three stories come to an end, each one built on a different kind of sacrifice. A life traded for the chance to have a child. Beauty and greed leading two sisters to ruin. And a young woman who found her strength only after being pushed to her lowest point. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.